Today, I'm going to show you two methods for checking for leaks on your flute. One using a feeler gauge and another using a leak light. First, I'm going to show you how to assemble your feeler gauge. For that, you're going to need your contact cement, your razor knife, your feeler gauge material, and your feeler gauge stick. The first thing you're going to do is cut a small strip from your feeler gauge material. I'm going to use my razor knife. Now I'm going to use a little bit of contact cement on my feeler gauge stick. Now I'm going to apply a little bit of this glue to my feeler gauge. Now that you've applied glue to both the stick and feeler gauge material, you're going to want to wait at least 5 to 10 minutes in order for the glue to dry. As soon as it's dry, you can stick it together. Once your glue is dry, you can now stick your feeler gauge onto the feeler gauge stick. And now you're ready to check for leaks. To check for leaks using a feeler gauge, you're going to insert the feeler gauge into the tone hole, close the pad, and gently pull out the feeler gauge. You should feel that tension as the pad is closing. Gently pull out the feeler gauge. That tension you feel is the pad closing. If the feeler gauge material comes out very easily, you probably have a leak in that area. When you're using the feeler gauge, it's important to check all directions: north, south, east, and west. Now, I'm going to show you how to check for leaks using a leak light. I find it's best to check for leaks using a leak light in the dark. You can turn the lights off or work in a dark environment. Start by inserting the leak light into the body of the flute. Gently press the pad down and look for any light that leaks from the pad. If you see a lot of light coming from out of the pad, you probably have a leak. The downside of using a leak light on a flute is that you see a lot of light escaping from the material of the pad. I find it's best to use a leak light in conjunction with your feeler gauge. And once again, don't forget to check in all directions: north, south, east, and west.